around Quinton and Leilani together.
Yes, sir.
And during those times, did you ever see her treat him in a way that upset you?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about any of those times?
With the console, like the PlayStation remote control, when she said that Quentin had got a hold of it, and it was the night before, and I guess she still got mad talking about it, so she pushed him down.
Okay, let's break that down a little bit. Where were you when this push happened?
She was by the tiki bar, and I was by closer towards the pool, where the little step is.
Okay, so whose house were you at?
Billy Joe's.
Okay. You're out back between the tiki bar area and the pool.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what was it that caused Leilani to push Quinton?
She got mad because he had supposedly broken the controller to her PS4.
Okay. And how did this come up?
When I walked up, I asked her if I could get Quentin, and she said yes, please take him. And then she just led off the conversation because he got a hold. I'm pretty sure she said it was her brother's controller, and he was going to be mad at her.
And what time of day was this?
I'm going to say around 2.
Okay. In the afternoon, I presume?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You said you came up. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from my mom's house.
And where was Leilani?
Leilani was outside.
Okay. In the back there?
Yes, sir.
And where was Quinton?
Quentin was inside.
Okay. And you said you were coming over to see if you could get Quinton.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by that?
I know the night before her and Danny was arguing or something, and she had called my phone to see if I could come get him, and it was like around 4 in the morning, and I told her I wasn't allowed at the house that late, and I didn't want to wake my mom up. She had work the next morning, but I would be over there the next day to grab him for my sister.
Did you say she called you or she texted you? I didn't catch that.
She called me.
Okay. She called you at like 4 in the morning and asked you to come take Quinton?
Yes, sir.
And why did she want you to do that?
She was getting aggravated with him.
Okay. So it's the next day that you went over to get him?
Yes, sir.
And what were you going to do with him?
I was going to grab him and take him over to our house.
All right. And is that something that you would do from time to time? Come and get him and just take him?
Every day.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Was he like your buddy?
Sir?
Was he like your buddy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you come up, you said Quentin's inside, and Leilani is out back by the pool, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're there to get Quinton.
Yes, sir.
And at some point she pushed him.
Yes, sir.
At what point did he go from being inside to outside?
He had walked up because the door, you could see through it. So he had walked up and put his hands and his mouth against the door, and he was happy. And she opened the door. She put the door handle and she pushed it open, and she was continuing telling me the story. And Quentin started saying bubbles. He wanted bubbles. And she pushed him, took her hand and pushed the middle of his chest and pushed him.
And what was the bubbles thing about? He said he wanted bubbles?
He loved bubbles.
Okay. Are you talking about like soap bubbles that you blow?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When she pushed him, what did she use to push him with first?
Her hand.
And where did she put her hand on his body?
Right here, in the middle.
And at that point, her hand's on his chest, and what does she do?
She pushes him.
And what happened to him when she pushed him?
He falls on his butt.
And what did he do?
He looked at me and held his arms out and started crying. And I told Leilani that upsetted me.
And what did you do it? You okay?
I'm good, I'm sorry.
When he fell, what part of his body hit? Did he fall on the ground, I guess?
Yes, sir. His tush hit the floor.
Okay. And you said he started crying and reached out his arms to you.
Yes, sir.
Did you pick him up?
Yes, sir.
And did you say anything to Leilani?
I told her that wasn't necessary because it happened last night, but she should have talked to him first.
And what happened from there?
I took him. I walked him home with me. I don't know what she did after.
So you talked about that one push. Was there anything else that you remember that was like that?
The pool incident.
What's the pool incident?
It was me and my sister, and I believe 2 of my nephews with me over at her pool swimming. And Zane had got in the pool, and Quinton wanted in there. And I was fixing to go grab Quinton to put him in there, but instead of her listening to me tell her, hold on, let me get his floaty on, she just full on pushed him in the pool.
Pushed him with what?
Her hand.
And where on his body did she make contact with him?
The back.
Like middle of the back, upper back, lower back?
The middle. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And she just pushed him into the pool?
Yes, sir.
And he didn't have any floaties on, it sounds like?
No, sir.
Okay. Was he able to swim at this point?
No, sir.
What happened once he was pushed into the pool?
He went underwater, and when he came back out, he caught his breath, trying to catch his breath, and then he started crying.
Was he coughing or anything?
Yes, sir.
And how did Leilani react to that?
She said she really didn't care because if Zane could learn how to swim, then Quinton needed to be as smart as Zane.
Now, what did you do when Quinton came up and was coughing and crying?
I looked at my sister and I told her I'm going home, and then that's when I asked Leilani, I said, can I take Quinton home? She said, yes, I don't care.
And how were you feeling at that point?
I was mad because wondering in my head how she could push him in the pool knowing without any floaties and knowing he can't swim at all.
How was Quinton as you were walking home with him? Did you dry him off or anything first? Or
I did dry him off. I wrapped him in a towel and he laid his head on my shoulder.
And what happened when you got home?
When I got home, I had put a pull-up on him, and he went and laid on the couch with his teddy bear.
And did you lay on the couch with him, or did you just leave him alone, or what?
I went to go fix him some juice, and then I laid on the couch with him.
Okay. How long did y'all lay there?
About 2 hours because he had fell asleep.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Did you take a nap there with him?
No, sir, because I was afraid I was going to squish him if I fell asleep with him.
Anything else you remember that was like those two things?
Other than her getting mad at him with the stairs and stuff.
Tell me about that.
It was one night when I went over there, and she was smoking. She had went upstairs, and she was talking to me about Quinton's father. And she said she don't know how Quinton could look so much like his dad when she's the one that gave birth to him. And I said, well, I don't know, because I didn't want to really get into that kind of stuff. It wasn't my problem. And she just kept going on about it, and Quinton was down the stairs. And I said, Leilani, he needs help down the stairs because I had Sky in my hands. And she said, he's a big boy, he can do it. I said, no, he can't, because her stairs in Billy Joe's house was kind of weird. And I said, he needs help. She said, no, he doesn't. And Quinton just continues to roll.
Are you talking about the stairs to the second floor?
Yes, sir.
You said Quinton continues to roll. What do you mean?
When he tripped on the first one, and he starts rolling down. And I hand her Sky, and I grab Quinton.
How was Quinton when you picked him up?
He was fine. He really didn't cry.
Anything else you remember that was like that?
No, sir.
You mentioned that incident started with her asking or wondering how he could look so much like his father. What was her tone of voice like when she was saying that? I mean, she sounded happy, angry, sad.
She sounded angry.
Do you remember if you seem like a pretty mild-mannered person?
Yes, sir.
But if I asked you to tell me what it sounded like when she said it, would you be able to do that, or not?
Yes, sir. You want the whole, just how she said it?
Yeah.
When I walked in, she was like, hey, I got a question. I said, yes. And she said, how the F could Quinton look just like his daddy? I'm the one that gave birth to him. And I said, I don't know, Leilani. I really don't know. She said, Zane's been my number one since he was born, and Quinton's just sitting there and useless.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Do you remember telling us last week about an incident where Leilani hit Quinton in the face? I think backhanded was the word you used.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember telling us about that?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about that now?
From the beginning, correct?
Yeah.
Zane and Quinton was out in the street. I was walking to the shed because that's where our laundry room that is.
Were you at your house at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said you have a laundry room in the shed.
Yes, sir.
So what were you walking out to the shed to do?
Do my chores, which was transfer the clothes from the washer into the dryer.
And at what point did you see Zane and Quinton?
When I was going towards the shed.
And what were they doing?
They were by the mailboxes on the other side of the road, going inside the ditch.
Okay. Were they in the road or next to the road or what?
They were in the road.
Okay. And were there any adults with them?
No, sir.
What time of day was this?
It was a little bit in the morning. I'm going to say around 11 or 12.
Okay. And when you saw them out there, what did you do?
I ran.
Ran where?
To get Quinton and Zane.
And what happened next?
As I was going to get them, there was a white car passing with a lady inside of it.
I'm sorry to stop you. I don't mean to interrupt you because you asked from the beginning, and I did say yes, right?
Yes, sir.
But I don't want you to tell us anything about what anybody said to you other than things that the defendant said to you, okay?
Yes, sir.
So let's skip the white car part, all right? So after the white car drove by, what happened next?
I took the kids back to my mom's house. My mom told me to take them to Leilani's. So,
don't testify about anything anybody else said.
Yes, sir.
Okay? All right. Thank you.
Okay, so you went back to your house, and you said at some point did you take them back to Leilani's house?
Yes, sir.
And why did you do that?
My mom told me to.
Okay. And where did you take them when you took them back?
I took them when I entered. It was behind where the pool part is, the back.
So you walked around the back?
Yes, sir.
And you had both of the kids with you at this point?
Yes, sir.
What happened from there?
I kept knocking on the door. Leilani would not answer. And I kept banging and banging. I just continued to bang until she answered. She came outside. And I said, Leilani, Quinton and them was on the road. And she was asleep. And instead of her taking the knowledge of what she had done and wasn't awake with them, she just backhanded Quinton in the face.
Can you describe that in a little more detail? What did it look like?
She raised her hand all the way back, and she just backhanded him. When she did, his head hit the concrete.
Where on his face did her hand hit him?
Right here.
And you're gesturing, I gotta say this for the court reporter and the transcript and all that, you're gesturing towards like your cheekbone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said that this knocked him down?
Yes, sir.
Did she hit him hard?
Yes, sir.
And when he fell down, what happened?
I looked at her, and then he started crying. He got up. When I lifted him up, he got up, and he ran to me, and he started pointing to my mom's house.
Did you say that his head hit the concrete out there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he ran to you, and you said he started pointing?
Yes, sir. Pointing directions to my mom's house.
Were you holding him at that point, or was he still on the ground, or what?
I think it was after a minute I did pick him up. Yes, sir.
Okay. And his pointing towards your house, what did you take that to mean?
I knew he wanted to go with me, but Leilani wanted them to stay.
Okay. Did you take him home?
I believe I took Quinton home because she didn't want me taking Zane home.
Were there any other incidents you remember that involved the defendant, Leilani, pushing him, hitting him, or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. Was there anything that you heard, other than what you've already mentioned, and you've talked about some of this stuff, was there anything that you ever heard her say that caused you to believed that she didn't like Quinton or didn't feel the same way about him that she felt about Zane.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about those things, that if the ones that you haven't mentioned yet?
Yes, sir. She would call me over there and ask if she could talk to me. And I would go over there, and she would just complain about Quinton, how Quinton wasn't like Zane, he wasn't smart like Zane, and that the only reason that she loved Zane and she didn't love Quinton is because Zane's been through everything with her, and Quinton hasn't been through nothing.
Did she ever point blank tell you anything about whether she had any feelings of love or affection towards Quinton at all?
Yes, sir. She told me she did not love him at all.
She said that to you?
Yes, sir.
Where was that when she said that?
We was on the back porch. He was in on the back porch. There's like a play area with a gate.
Is that with the brown couch in it and the slide and stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who was, you were out there, and was Quinton out there?
I was in the play thing with Quinton, and she was by the tiki bar.
Okay. How did that come up, that she's saying that about Quinton at that time?
She was mad at Danny.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And how did it get on to Quinton and saying that about Quinton?
Because Quinton was making noises with his mouth and saying he was calling out for Danny. He kept saying, Danny, Danny. And she kept getting mad about that.
She was mad at Danny at the time?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
And Quinton was calling out for Danny?
Yes, sir.
And that's what led up to her saying that thing about Quinton?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did Quinton ever stay the night at your house?
Oh, yes, sir.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes, sir. We would have Quinton for weeks at a time at our house. She never called to check on Quinton. But we never complained about it because we really enjoyed Quinton being at our house, being able to love on him. And sorry.
You miss him?
Yes, sir.
Think you're ready to be done with this now?
It doesn't matter. I'm fine.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were there times where Quinton would sleep over at your house, but the other kids would?
Yes, sir.
How did that come about? How did that happen?
When Leilani would say she's coming to pick up the kids, she would be like, oh, I'm coming, or Danny's coming to pick up the kids. Quinton would never want to go when it was her. So she was like, he could just stay here, it's fine.
How was Danny with Quinton and the kids?
Danny loved the kids a lot. He was good with them. He treated them how they were supposed to be treated.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Em, the last time you were asked to talk about these incidents with us, you noted that these incidents happened in May, June, and July of 2022. Is that correct?
I didn't say. I said I didn't know the exact months.
Okay, well, the different incidents we've talked about.
Yes, sir.
All the incidents that you named, can you tell me when they happened?
No, sir, I cannot.
Okay. And when you saw them happen, the things that you've described here in court, did you call anybody like the police?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you call anybody like DFAX to report Leilani?
No, sir, I did not.
The PlayStation controller push you described, he fell back on his bottom.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you see any kind of a bruise or a mark or a cut or anything on Quinton as a result of the push you say you saw?
Not at the time, no, sir.
And the pool incident, obviously that was in the warmer months, but you can't say when that happened either, can you?
I know it was in summer sometime, but I don't know the exact month.
Okay. And in Savannah, summer can be a pretty long time.
Yes, sir.
Same question as before. Did you call the police about it, or DFAX, or any authority to report Leilani Simon?
No, sir, I did not.
The stairs incident, I think he went down the stairs and you got to him, but he didn't cry, did he?
Not for long. He didn't really let out a long one.
And you didn't see any marks or injuries or bruises?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, what kind?
It was a bruise on right here by his head.
Okay. Now the Roadway incident.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As I understand it, you were at your house and you saw the boys out there near the road.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you went there. Actually, you ran to them, did you not?
Yes, sir, I did.
Because you recognized kids in a roadway with cars going by can be a very dangerous situation, can't it?
Yes, sir.
And it can be very upsetting.
Yes, sir.
And you knocked on the door but couldn't get an answer right.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea how Zane and Quinton then got out of the house on their own?
Zane knew how to open doors.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And right now, in recounting these different incidents, you can't give an exact date about when they happened, can you?
No, sir, I cannot.
And we've already established you didn't call the police about it, call any authority or any DFAX to report what happened.
No, sir, I did not.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dean, any regret?
When these things would happen, was there anybody you tell?
I would tell my mom.
No further questions.
Ms. McCarter, you're excused.
Thank you.
Mr. Dean, you may call your next witness. Is this the witness that's expected to take some time?
Yes, ma'am.
On second thought, maybe we'll take a stop. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to excuse you for the evening. We're going to reconvene tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock a.m. I think by now you know the routine. I will instruct you not to discuss the case, not to do any research, not to allow anyone to discuss the case around you. Please do not consume any media regarding this case. All right. And with that, you're excused.
Jurors exiting.
Thank you. All right. Is there anything that everyone can have a seat. Is there anything that we need to take up before we stop for the evening from the state?
I don't think so, Your Honor. Nothing that comes to mind.
Mr. Hilliard?
Nothing from the defense, Judge.
Okay. We'll start up again in the morning at 9 o'clock a.m. At this time, we are in recess.